What does a Project 2029 agenda look like for you?
I don't think you can speak of it in shorthand, but I'll just say a couple of things that I think are absolutely necessary. One is we've got to restore the rule of law, and that means holding people accountable who've broken the law. I'm talking about in this administration, when we get a new one, the people in this administration who've broken the law and federal agents who've broken the law need to be held accountable.
And that means criminally prosecuted.
Criminally prosecuted, civilly prosecuted, whatever it is that we can do, right? It may be that you can't criminally prosecute somebody, but that you can go after them civilly.
So there you have JB Pritzker, the current governor of Illinois, talking about Project 2029. Sounds ominous, doesn't it? He's basically talking about lawfare. At least that's what they accuse President Trump of and his administration if they go to prosecute people who they believe has committed crimes. JB Pritzker, squarely focused once again on President Trump and everything President Trump does. Unfortunately for the Illinois taxpayer, it's like, hello, can you see us here? We're standing here. We're taking on water. We're about to drown. And he's like, but what about President Trump? I want to talk a little bit to my friend Ted Dabrowski, who has been fighting valiantly to try to unseat JB Pritzker in the governor's seat. We had the Illinois primary yesterday. Ted, as you know, you earned my vote. I did cast my ballot for you yesterday, but you came up short. We appreciate you taking some time today, the day after the primary, to talk to us.
Annie, thank you so much for that vote of confidence. And it was an exciting race. I loved being in it. I loved traveling the state, meeting people. We came short, but we did a lot of good stuff, and I'm happy to talk about that. But thank you for your support.
Yeah.
It meant a lot to me.
Well, I think you caused a lot of people to be hopeful, to have a fresh face, to have a fresh voice, a fresh perspective on this governor's race. So I do believe that going forward, Darren Bailey, the last numbers I checked, he did get more than 50% of the vote, so he beat the field. So I think he's got a mandate, and Illinois has chosen who they want to try to beat, JB Pritzker. But I think that your effect on this race and some of the things that you brought to the forefront should have a lasting effect in this race. Talk to me about some of the things that you hope will carry on past your candidacy for this position.
Well, I tried to just bring it back to policy. You were just talking about Pritzker and how all he does is talk about Trump and about other issues and not the state. And you got to come back to just fundamental facts. You got to look at where we are relative to the rest of the country. I mean, that's a great way to start, right? Where do we rank against all the other states? What are our policies? Are they extreme? Not extreme. And that's what I tried to do. And I tried to then break down, here's where we have trouble, and here's what we need to fix, here's what we need to attack, and do it not in a nasty, we've gotten so nasty in our politics that it just, nobody listens to each other anymore. And I'd like to bring back just normal, good old fashioned persuasion, logic, and reason. And I think when we show how extreme we are as a state in a bad way, extreme in so many ways, we can persuade people to come to our side and join us in this. And that means getting persuadable independents, persuadable Democrats, persuadable different ethnic groups, racial groups. We can come together, and I really think we can do that.
Yeah, I agree. So, I still think that fight is one that is a very worthy cause. Do you feel as though you're going to be able to, how do you see your role in this going forward? Yesterday, you're all geared up to try to take JB Pritzker out of that position on behalf of the people of Illinois. I got to imagine that fight still exists inside of you today.
Oh, I feel great today. Congratulations to Darren. They did so well down in southern Illinois that you got to give them credit for that. Now, so what really stood out, and I think here's where our success came in, is from our campaign, and this is our big message, and we're proven right on the message that whoever is going to beat Pritzker has to do well in Cook County, the suburbs. And, we won Cook County. The Dabrowski campaign won by 17 points in Cook County against Bailey. We got 12 points in the second largest county 10 points in DuPage, 12 points in Lake. So we performed really well. And I think what we showed is that this kind of discussion, this kind of what I just mentioned, a natural, policy-oriented, persuasive discussion is powerful enough to win. And what we proved is that where people know who we are, and what we stand for and how we talk about it, we can win. And so we can do well in those counties, but we have to be smart about how we message.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. Ted Dabrowski speaking with us. He was a Republican candidate for governor in the state of Illinois, of course, president of WirePoints as well, and came up second in the race to be the GOP nominee for governor for this November race. I am looking right now. I have a lot of comments, a lot of responses on X regarding the results last night. and one commenter, don't know who they were, just somebody who has a stake, just like you and I do in the state of Illinois, said that kind of to the similar effect of what you just said there, you did really well in Cook County. Like, you were able to get people out. Yeah. You had the support there. You got DuPage as well. The Chicagoland area is an absolute necessity for the Darren Bailey campaign in order to beat JB Pritzker. And I suspect he's not going to be able to pull in those votes without your help. And I'm curious if you feel as though that is a partnership that's going to be able to be established so that we can get this thing eventually across the finish line.
Yeah, and just a few points before that, too. I think what's been fascinating about this race is how low the turnout has been in the Republican primary. It's scary, sad, and low. And you look at this, and it's a dramatic drop. I guess just overall 25% drop. Probably end up around 20% drop in turnout from nearly 800,000 last time to 600,000. So we're going to have to do a lot of work to get the votes out. And I think we saw that across the whole state as well. Look, I'm so happy with my success. I think we've run a very different campaign from the Bailey campaign. We were focused. I mean, I spent a lot of time in Southern Illinois as well.
Yeah.
I think there's a big lesson learned there that it's really hard to reach down there. And again, I thank you for your vote of confidence, but it's hard to reach. The media market's not the same. The populace is dispersed. And it's not like a Chicago market, so that's the big challenge. But I'm happy to engage in any way I can. I want to see us beat Pritzker. We'll just have to see how the Bailey campaign may want to engage me. We've been pretty different so far in our approach. So we'll see.
What a reflection, though, of the state of Illinois. I mean, it's true we had Chicago Flips Red on yesterday, and, at one point, one of the ladies from Chicago Flips Red was kind of like maybe admonishing Southern Illinois, saying, just remember, Illinois goes through Chicago. And I'm here to say that's absolutely accurate. We know. We know that Illinois is not going to change if the area that has 2/3 of the population doesn't want it to change. So there has to be a partnership. Chicago cannot abdicate the connection that is necessary for turnout in Southern Illinois. If Southern, and by Southern you basically just mean non-Chicago. If non-Chicago Illinois shows up and we get 23% of the vote in the Chicagoland area, we have a shot at a statewide office. But your approach is important. The way that you handled it, it was about policy. That's something that was refreshing to people, a lot of the people whose vote you did earn. If you're boiling down your campaign and the winning strategy to beat JB Pritzker, are there certain talking points that you think that need to be discussed more going forward through November?
Yeah, I mean, there's a clear difference between. This is the hard part, right? There's a clear difference between Southern and Central Illinois, and of course you've got, the old manufacturing base, and you've got the farming, and it's of course a very more rural approach, and Chicago, of course, is very urban. And so what I think I brought to the table, and this is why I think we had success, is you've got to be able to talk to all kinds of groups. And again, me being half Latino, half Polish, and having traveled the world, and I've been lucky and fortunate to do that, I can speak to the different communities, and you have to treat them with respect. And we're all different. We have different cultural views, and of course, we know there's a huge difference between Chicago, much more liberal, and downstate, much more conservative. But it's one thing to have differences; is how you discuss them, and that's again one of the approaches. You have to be respectful for differences of opinion. I'm very principled in my opinions. I'm conservative, but I will approach you, whoever you are, in a way that's respectful. Not shove it down your throat, but I will hold on to my principles. So it's you got to be smart about it, and this is a multicultural, multi-ethnic, multiracial. And again, I think you got to persuade centrists who might have voted for Pritzker 2 times, and you're not going to win them over by calling them names. If you call Pritzker names, they are going to be turned off. So you have to win them with the policy, win them with the argument, and the crime data is on our side, the education data is on our side, and I mean on our side in terms of making our persuasive argument. The outmigration, the loss of companies, all that stuff. We can make normal persuasive arguments and win people over, not shove things down their throats and tell them that they're bad people. So that's the argument I make.
Okay, so last question. It's a tough question. I don't know how you're going to answer it, but I think it's important for me to ask it of you right now. You know, Ted Dabrowski, you come in second place. You had a great campaign, I think one that you should be very proud of. Do you encourage your supporters to now lend their support to Darren Bailey in the general election to defeat JB Pritzker?
Yeah, no, I do. Darren, of course, and many of them will already be with Darren. They're going to be conservative Republican. Those who might be concerned, look, we know we need to get Pritzker out of office, but at the same time, Darren will have to earn their respect. And he didn't come up here much, and he missed some of the debates, and he skipped I-80. But okay, he's got the win now. Now he's got to convert and win up here. So yeah, sure, I encourage all the people who voted for me to join. So absolutely. Yeah. But like I said, he's got to earn it as well, though.
Yeah, he's going to have to earn every single one. And I think that it's very possible that the victory for the Republicans in this race will have to be from people who just decide to not show up to vote for JB Pritzker, who may not translate their vote into a Republican vote at the polls, but maybe just can't stomach another vote for JB Pritzker. We have to not give them reasons to fill in the circle for JB Pritzker. If they're disgusted with them, a non-vote is better than the, all right, I'm going to abstain from the Republican side here and give a non-vote the other way.
And Annie, to be clear, both of us had a challenge going against JB Pritzker and his money. Both of us had the challenge of having to do well in Cook County and the suburbs. And again, I'm very proud of how well we did up here. We kind of proved the point that you have to do well up here, and that the candidate that has the best chance of beating Pritzker is that one who does the best up here. That said, Darren won. Now, he got 90,000. It'll be around 90,000 fewer votes in Cook County, the Colorado, than he did last time, and that has a lot to do with just the vote counts being down across the board. So it's going to take that much more work to persuade people. So I wish them well, and it's a big challenge, but here you go.
Yeah, it had been a big challenge for you as well, but the
Absolutely.
Folks in the state of Illinois, like me, like so many who listen to the show, we call it home, and home is always worth fighting for. And we know, Ted, that you've been doing that yourself as well, and we're very grateful because people who step up, even when it looks impossible, can sometimes make the impossible happen.
I tell you, it's been an amazing. I'm a first-time candidate, first-time running for office, and I gained so much from it. I love this state and the people. It's people want something. They want change, and especially down there where you are. That said, I think we can't give up on Illinois, and I plan on trying to figure out how I continue to engage and do my best this is a great state. We should, like I said, we should be a top 5 state, and I'm going to fight for that. So thank you for your opportunity, and thank you for your vote and having me on the show.
Of course, and we will fight there right alongside with you, continuing because we have the same goals in mind. Ted Dabrowski, thank you for stepping up and putting your name on that ballot. We were grateful for the opportunity to talk to you.
Look forward to talking to you more. Take care.
Bye-bye. Ted Dabrowski, a candidate for